Yo boys, we're back at it again with another morning coffee talk. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit late today. Woke up and I felt like I feel like I got hit by an absolute bus. And I thought it was actually a perfect opportunity to talk to you about how ADHD is a superpower. And I think a lot of people misdiagnose it. Some people overrate it and some people underrate it. They think there's something wrong with them if they have it. They think that they're the next coming of Genghis Khan if they do have it. That's what at least I see. And you know me, I'm a guy of the extremes. If you're new here, I like living life in the extremes, but not when it comes to outlook on things. Funny enough, how I live my life is for sure extreme, but you also have to be pragmatic and logical about it. So all we can do with ADHD, you know, part of the reason why people think it's a weakness is because, and thankfully for me, I've never been diagnosed. I mean, I'm sure if I tested for it, I would have had it. A lot of people think I for sure had it growing up, but I never got hopped up on meds and stuff. And that's kind of part of the issue is a doctor tells you there's something wrong with you. First sip in the morning. Oh yeah. By the way, I have no electricity, so I actually had no way of heating up the coffee. Thank God there was some left over from yesterday. I'm quite happy about how that turned out. That's what you get. It's a beautiful view. It's a beautiful place, you know. But I mean, you know, the electricity situation is it's suspect, you know, to say the least. It is absolutely suspect. You'll just wake up and I'll just get a text from my landlord like, "Yo, no electricity till 5." And you're just like, "All right, sounds good." So I'll probably go downtown after this video. But I was like, I know something, I want to talk to my dogs for a little bit. And honestly, when I do these coffee talks, it's just whatever's on my mind. And it's funny because I did wake up today. I'm like, dude, I feel awful. My central nervous system is fried. I've been training extremely hard twice a day. And it's funny, it's not even something in my head. It's like, it's now time for 2-a-days. I never tell myself anything. And that's actually why I wanted to make this video. That's the beauty of the ADHD mind, the obsessive mind, the one that does also have a proclivity to become a bit more depressed as well. You know, you range a lot, your emotions range a ton. And it's funny, in order to become Zen, you know, a lot of people I think go that route because they can't handle their emotions. You have to experience every single emotion under the spectrum without worrying, without asking yourself, why do I feel this way? And why? I'm not here to tell you to be a macho tough guy either. You know, I think that's one thing. You guys know how I feel about traditional self-improvement or the current landscape of masculinity and stuff. You know, masculinity isn't putting on anything. That's what makes it masculine. You know what I mean? You are who you are unapologetically. That doesn't mean you're a dick and, you know, you go around being like, yeah, dude, I don't care about nothing, dude. You know, it's like, no. I'm kind, but the whole point is it's your standard. You know, you should expect more from yourself. That's who you are as a person. And so with that, you know, especially if you care to have a standard and you have a higher standard for yourself that you have to abide by, that means doing a lot of things you don't feel like doing a lot. But what I will say with the ADHD and the reason why it's so powerful is the emotions from people that do have it is so nuclear. It's rocket fuel. Everything you feel, you almost can feel it at a ridiculous rate. Like if you love something, you love it. If you hate something, you have a visceral reaction to that thing. Doesn't matter what it is. It's so nuts. That's the beauty of it. And it looks different for everybody. You know, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, especially amongst these kind of types. But that's what I used to struggle with. I didn't know how to navigate it. I didn't know what the hell to do with it. I always used to think something was wrong with me. I always had a natural proclivity to get really down, also get really, really up. So like when I was on my game, and that's why I used to think it's like, why can't I always be on my game like that? Because that's how it is. Like with ADHD types, you realize this. You start to really like when you come in great, you come in phenomenal. Like you're like, dude, I'm at my best right now. And then there's just days you're like, I'm actually at my worst. I'd rather nobody see me in this type of light, you know? And when you get angry, you get super angry. And, you know, you can continuously on, but in my opinion, that actually what makes you the most dangerous. That is the superpower that ADHD actually is. Your ability to feel every single emotion under the spectrum so viscerally, that's how you have quite literally a database center in your own brain, which means you understand where everybody's at all the time. Like if someone's angry, you have felt that probably much more exponential, much more intense of feeling of anger than anybody else, so you know how to kind of like settle people. You know, I actually think ADHD gives you empathy in the best possible ways. Empathy doesn't mean, oh, I feel so bad for you, man. God, it's got to be so tough. That's fake empathy. Empathy is, can I actually understand what this person's going through, what they actually need to hear, and what I wish I would have heard sooner? That's the real application of empathy. You know how to word things in a way that makes people feel like, oh my gosh, like he gets me, because you get it. You can't fake that. You can't chase like, hey, how do you articulate and how do you, it's because I have felt every single one of these emotions to its rawest form. Excitement, you're talking about like dopamine junkie. That's how I am. I have to be real with myself. That's why I love things like coffee. That's why I have, for example, like nicotine gum and stuff. I have to be so careful with your vices. Like even for me, it's like, do you really need that? If I wanted to, and that's like, this, especially if you're this type, you can quit anything cold turkey. For the most part, I feel like most people that I identify with that actually do have it can quit anything. It's just like a very mind over matter thing, but it's because they know how to lean into intense feeling. They're not completely uncomfortable with that level of intensity of feeling, where most people probably wouldn't be able to handle it. It's funny, it sounds like when people talk about success, it's just how are you able to handle problems? The bigger problems you can handle and remain just cold, just cool, calm, and collected through the storm, dude, that is quite literally correlated with the type of life you'll be able to live in terms of success monetarily. Just handling problems in general is something that people don't know how to deal with, especially in today's world, just because everything's so convenient. You have to go out of your way. You get visceral, like you can feel it, like it's like a visceral anger because everyone's addicted to the same way of doing things. That's why you hear people, for example, that live a really, really good life. And a lot of times, like if they were to go broke, they start wrestling with these feelings, mainly because, money was a part of their identity as a person. And without that, who the hell are they? That's for sure one part of it. But it's because of that drop. It's a huge drop, and it's not like something I've ever experienced. I didn't grow up with money, never really did. Just enough to where I was able to do stuff I always worked growing up. But even then, I've been at broke a lot. And it's kind of funny. I think the more you're actually into that, a lot of people want to rush and be like, dude, I just want to have everything. And dude, I was the same way when I was 18, 19. In my head, I was like, I need to have it all, and I need to have it all by the time I'm 22, because at 22, after then, it's start playing these make-believe timelines with yourself. And I see it all the time. It's something you see so often. But what I will say with the ADHD, the addictive types, the obsessive types, the ones that have a more proclivity to depression, it's about leaning into those feelings for what they are. It's the best thing you can do. If you're angry, utilize what that feeling gives you most of. That's how I personally, in my head, like some days you just wake up a bit angrier. It's like, okay, I know when I'm angry, I do my best work in this regard. I know when I'm happy or just in general, like very excited, I do my best work under this. Like I should be definitely having more phone calls when I feel that way. Talking to everybody. I want to give everybody my good energy. That's how I personally look at it. You should dispose of it. It's not dispose it and throw it away. You should spend it. Think of it like money. Like you should spend your energy here. It's best utilized here based on how I'm feeling. And it almost gives me this way, like a lot of people are like, do you have a routine? And your sleep schedule's all over the place. I see sometimes you eat at 3 o'clock in the morning. What time are you waking up? It's like, I honestly I go with the flow. It doesn't mean I should allow anything to happen. I have things I have to get done in the day. How I get those done, I don't care. But these things need to get done. There's certain things every single day you got to get done. But aside from that, you're good, And that to me is the greatest way of leveraging that tool. That's why I want to get back to the beginning when I said people either they overrate it or they underrate it. The middle aspect is just understanding what it is and leveraging it to its nth degree. That's how I am. It's how I work out. And you guys know this if you've been here. And if you're not been here, you can go through some old videos and check out, all of I have a freaking hundreds of videos now. Well, I shouldn't say hundreds, over 100 for sure. That I can say for sure. But it's how I work out. I'm just resourceful with what I got. I move with what I got right now. My best foot forward. That's why I think of everything as the rent is due every single day. I don't think beyond today. I don't think to the future. I used to do that. I'm more naturally thinking of things in the future. We're all naturally like that. We either look to the past or the future. I've always been the type to think about the future and get super excited about it. But nothing matters. The past is the past. You burn it. The future has not happened. So it's not real. It's not real yet. But it ain't real. It hasn't happened. It's all make-believe. The only thing you have is now. The present. That's why it's called the gift. And if you just move forward every single day, thinking about the day, and then when you get real good at it, you'll start thinking about it in the hour. And you live literally every day, hour by hour. You don't even plan out a day ahead of time because it's like you don't know. In your head, you have to leverage what you got. Things change, things move. And for me, that's just been the best way I can navigate it. And since I've navigated it that way, that's where the problem with that type of mind, you have the ability to think so harshly and deep about things that it tends to almost put you into paralysis, like it almost just, it puts you so into this spot where all you're doing is you're stuck of thoughts. And that's the worst place to be. It's the dumbest thing ever. Like introspection at a certain point is really dumb. You should understand your quirks. You should understand how you fire off, how you do your best work. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is a rhythm and system that's working for you all the time. Today I woke up and legitimately my central nervous system was absolutely fried. So my head's like, you want to know something? I'm just going to put up a camera and just start talking because I know based on how I'm feeling right now and because I've lived my life, I know how I operate best. I know that in this video, I'm coming through as me as possible. Every video is pretty much like that. Sometimes I like to try to make it fun for you guys, especially with the workout and stuff. That's the point. It's like when I'm in the gym, I'm a bit goofy. Like when I'm training, I'm a bit of a weirdo, but like, it's just because like the energy's going. Oh yeah, like with my boys, I'm like, all right, dude, like let's get it, like there's an excitement there. When I'm sitting down having a coffee, I really do feel like you guys are here. But I'm saying it because obviously, no one's around. It's just you guys right now. So I'm going to talk to you as if we're having a coffee. You get what I mean? So it's more so just understanding the mental spot you're in and how to best take advantage of that. When I'm feeling goofy or energetic and I kind of get into like a fun character, it's not like I'm trying to be something I'm not. It's just like that's how I operate. That's all you can do is you only can leverage what you are and who you are. And honestly, it changes day by day. Not necessarily what you want, not necessarily your principles, not your values, none of that changes. But how you're showing up does change. It changes, especially if you're this type, it changes. It might look the same, but there's always going to be this, he's a little bit off today. He's a little bit this because you're volatile. But the best thing you can do is just don't pretend. I used to do that all the time. I used to like, oh, I feel, sad today or whatever. All right, I'm going to act super happy. And there's a value in that because you just know how to whip yourself into shape. You know how to ignore how you're feeling and then just do what's needed for the time. But especially if you're operating, your own thing and you operate in your own way and you like to live life the way you want to live it, that's not a long-term solution. Those are short-term solutions. You should only pull that tool out when you need it. It's not something you should be leaning on. Big difference. You should be living a life where it's like, I know no matter how I wake up every single day, I know how to best leverage this emotion to my advantage. And that's why when you find something that sets your heart on fire, lead with your heart and die on your own sword. Because I'm that type. When something sets my heart on fire, nothing else exists. That's my biggest, people call that a flaw, but that flaw is my gift. People call that a problem. They're calling it a flaw, and flaws are your gift. I'll say that again because it's so important. I used to think something was wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. That's your gift. You just have to leverage it properly. It's the most important thing you can do is when something sets your heart on fire, nothing else exists, and you go all in because you're volatile. The way, and I mean this, I started social media maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I have 270,000 followers on Instagram. I think I'm at 24,000 or 23,000 subscribers here on YouTube, 34,000 on TikTok. I just started posting on Twitter or X. People call it X, it's Twitter. But I really just started posting on X. I started all the accounts at the same time, but really started posting probably this year. We cracked over 1,000 followers, which is really low, obviously, in comparison, but it's not something, I like to have that be separate of this channel that's separate from Instagram, because everyone's coming for something different. I want to make sure everyone's getting what they want. But my point is that's all in a year and a half, 2 years. I started from broke when I decided to do this. You want to know why I decided to do it? Because I was basically ricocheted to my rawest self. I had nothing. But I was also in a position at that time where it's like, I've been in that position where I was kind of, broke and at nothing. But at that point, I was already walking into the man I was supposed to be. That's going to happen on that way. Like, I know I was rowing my boat in the right direction, but in my head, I was like, well, how can I actually best serve people based on who I am right now and what I can offer? And that's why I was like, fitness, you know? And my head was like, perfect way to start because I actually know what I'm talking about. I know what's worked for me because I've been every body type under the sun. I've been fat, I've been skinny, I've been chunky, I've been pudgy. Like, it's so funny. If you looked at it, you're like, dude, this guy's been every body type under the sun. And so in my head, it's like, I know what that's like to kind of struggle with that. And I know that people would just like work out for 2 weeks and start a fitness thing. And it's the most saturated market. And yet I was able to crack it. It's not I cracked it. I knew in my head I was being unapologetically honest. I'm like, no. What I'm going to share is going to basically speed up their progress in a way that they may have never gotten to without me or coming across me on their feed. That's genuinely valuable. And then obviously there will be a time where it's like, hey, this is how we, like, if you want to start a business, this is what I highly recommend for you. This is how I would get started. And then from there, you want to take this skill and put it into this business. You get what I mean? Like, there's a time and place for stuff. That's why a lot of you guys ask me, what do you do for a living? How are you doing this? It's like, there'll be a time and place for that, I promise. But I'm not here to talk about anything that I don't know. Like, to its nth degree. I was working out for over a decade before I decided to click content and hit the record button and start sharing. And then from there, guess what? I didn't even think about, oh, I got really good at making content. Oh, I understand how to edit. Oh, I understand hooks. Oh, I understand headline titles. I understand copywriting. That all happened accidentally. Those are all skills accidentally off of me just thinking I can help people with fitness. I can get people in the best shape of their lives in a way that it looks easy, in a way that actually gives them energy. I'm one of the only ripped people that have a ridiculous amount of energy, that don't sleep really, really well, that is a complete 100% lifetime natural. That doesn't really happen very often. So I knew in my head, I'm like, that is valuable because most people that are getting ripped are basically ripped for like 7 days or they're flexing on the big stage. I'm not here to flex in a thong on the big stage. No shade if that's something you want to do. I'm just saying that's not my goal. My goal was just like, I just want to be a physical specimen because I know that if I figure this out, I have a funny feeling I'm going to figure out how a lot of other things that I care about work. Excellence in one area, you know how to get excellence in every other area. That's the point. So regardless, to bring it all full circle, ADHD is not something to feel ashamed about. And its problem is because you were probably put on medication when you were younger, you know, and it messes up your wiring. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, but for you to think that, oh, I can't, you know, I'm messed up and there's nothing I can do, you need to quite literally remove that, take it and chuck it to the wolves and let them eat that shit. Like that needs to be removed because let me tell you something, the human being, and I've said this all the time, and now it'll start making sense how I work out because it's the way I live my life. The human being adapts better than anything else. The moment you decide, you want to know something, I'm going to leverage this to my advantage, it just happens and it happens quick. And if you think that it's holier than thou being ADHD and that you're in Genghis Khan, just look at where you are, look at where your feet are at. I'm not saying that to be an ass. I do the same exact thing. I look where my feet are at, I'm like, I'm not nearly where I need to be. I'm happy, I'm progressing, but I'm not where I want to be according to my standard for my life. And that's the point. It's quite literally a game of confidence and humility because guess what? Confidence is humility. It's grounded. It's not, oh, look at me, look how crazy and amazing I am. That's fake confidence. For me, I was always after real confidence and real conviction in my life. No matter what happens, I know who I am. You can wipe me back down to zero every single time, but I know who I am. Because I got me. I got me, I got God. I'm good. I'll take care of it. As long as I wake up healthy and strong and with my brain, I wake up tomorrow, it's a brand new day. The past does not matter anymore. Even if I had the best day of my life yesterday, today's a brand new day. I don't say I did great yesterday and look, man, it's all right, I can take a little bit of a break. No. I wake up and every day is my last day on earth. And I really live my life that way. And people would think, oh, I should go party on boats and stuff. Sounds fun, don't get me wrong, obviously. Hot on police, relax. I already know you guys are gonna come for my neck on that one. But, no, but like on a real note, like no, like when you start really living in line, I know if I were to die, I kid you not, I would go to God proud. I'd be like, God, listen, I made a lot of mistakes in my life in terms of just wasting a lot of potential, wasting a lot of time, you know, I I fumbled a lot of my potential growing up, but I'm proud of how I came around and how quickly I came around and how I didn't stop. I moved forward with the best I had with what I got. That's all I can do. And once it clicked for me, and it takes time, that is a part of the journey, is for you to arrive at those things. But point is if you're the ADHD type, start learning how to leverage your emotions to work for you versus against you. And I promise you, your ability to make anything happen so damn quickly is second to none. That's why it's a superpower. Anyways, I appreciate watching this video. I hope this is well worth your time. Cold coffee talk this morning. I didn't even drink that much coffee. But honestly, who likes cold coffee? Iced coffee is different. But lukewarm, you're like, I mean, listen, I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen. But anyways, I appreciate you watching this video, especially if you made it till the end. I know how difficult it is to wrestle with those feelings, you know, so something I definitely wanted to make a video on and long overdue. But also, you know, like, comment, subscribe on my YouTube game. Come on now. Come on now. But if there's anything you guys want specifically, real talk, just let me know. That's what the comments are for. I like looking at those things. Tell me what you like about this channel. Tell me what you want more of. My goal is obviously to grow this channel very, very large. It's just how I do things. It's not because it's like, oh, I need to be... It really has nothing to do with that. I just know in my head I'm capable of playing the game here. If I'm capable of it, I have to make it happen. That's just a standard thing. But anyways, I love you guys. From Uncle Rami to the Natural Crusaders, signing off with the morning coffee talk with me, my guys, man. Love you very much. Uncle Rami out.